Hello and welcome to Criminal Justice in a Nutshell. My name is John Fisher, and this episode is called Crimes Against Persons and What We Fear and Who We Fear. There are three ways that our government, that our nation tracks crime. The first is the National Crime Victimization Survey, and this is a survey to where members of the Bureau of Justice Statistics go out into the country. They randomly select 18,000 homes or so, and they talk to everybody in the house about criminal victimization. The head of the household talks about the crime against the property and how all of that works. Okay, so this primarily focuses on understanding the crime that's not reported to the police, and that's what's known as the dark figure of crime. The dark figure of crime is the criminal activity, the criminal actions within any community that is not and does not get reported to the police. The second is the Uniform Crime Report. This is the official crime report of our country. It is put together by the FBI on an annual basis, and they collect information from all of the police departments that participate. And using that information and the data that's submitted by all the different police departments, they can determine the crime rate in any city. If you go to citydata.com, type in Big Spring, Texas, or San Angelo, Texas, or Rockport, or wherever you live, it will tell you all about that city. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom or close to the bottom, it's going to tell you about the crime data. It's going to tell you how much crime there is in the city. They're going to run it by actual real numbers, by numbers based upon per 100,000 per capita. And so you need a little bit of statistics there. And they track the Part 1 offenses. The Part 1 offenses from the Uniform Crime Report, there's 4 property crimes and there's 4 person crimes. The person crimes are homicide, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery. The property crimes is theft, auto theft, arson, and burglary. And don't confuse burglary and robbery. Burglary is where your car or your house has property stolen from it. Robbery is when you personally have property stolen from you. Just because your house got burglarized and they took your TV doesn't mean that you got robbed. Okay, so let's move on into the Part 1 crimes, the crimes against persons, and what we fear. Okay, what we fear most of all is murder and mass murder. Mass murder is something that scares us, and there's 3 types of mass murder. There's serial killers, mass murderers, and spree killers. Okay, serial killers, there are organized serial killers and disorganized serial killers. Disorganized serial killers do what's called blitz attacks. They work on they work on a blitz attack. They're compulsive. They decide, I'm going to attack that person. They go, they attack that person, and then they attack that person, and they kill them. They take their trophies, do whatever. An organized serial killer will stalk their victim. They will kidnap their victim from one location. They'll transport them to another location where they'll kill them. Then they'll transport them to a third location where they'll dispose of the body. But there's 5 motivations for serial killers. The first is a visionary serial killer. And the visionary serial killer is somebody who hears voices and they have visions and they kill, and they kill because they have this compulsion to do so. If you've ever watched the Dexter series, he was kind of like a visionary serial killer. He had this dark passenger, and he talks about this dark passenger and how this dark passenger gave him the desire and the lust and to kill. But he was also a missionary serial killer. Dexter was a missionary serial killer in that he only focused on a specific type of person to kill, somebody that wouldn't be missed. Most missionary serial killers go after runaways and prostitutes because nobody's going to miss them. Nobody's going to care that they're gone. Dexter, the TV show Dexter, he focused on criminals that got away, and that belonged in prison, and they didn't end up in prison. They were pedophiles, they were murderers, they were rapists. They rose to this level of deserving to die, and that's who he killed. The next is a comfort serial killer. And the comfort serial killers are motivated by financial or material gain. Most of these are your black widows, your women and your females who kill for money. Although there have been several HHH Holmes. Herbert Holmes was a material serial killer, a comfort serial killer. Your hedonistic serial killers are people who murder because they find it enjoyable, and they enjoy the stalking and the torture and the killing. The power seekers are serial killers who operate from a position of authority. They enjoy having control over other people, and the killing actually happens to be, a lot of times it's just an accident. They enjoy their torturing. James Fox and Jack Levin are the criminologists who believe they are leaders in studying and researching serial killers, and they believe that the majority of serial killers are not insane, and they don't have medical psychotic episodes. They're not medically psychotic. They are psychopaths. They're sociopaths because they don't have any empathy or feelings or sympathy or embarrassment, like we explained in chapter 5. Okay, mass murderers. Mass murderers is another group of people that we fear. People like Omar Mateen, people like Adam Lanza and James Holmes and Wynn, who up until this past week, the Pulse murders, Wynn at Virginia Tech held the biggest, the largest single event, mass murder event. And now it belongs to Omar Mateen when he killed 49 people at the Pulse nightclub, which was supposed to be a safe spot, a safe place for the LGBTQ community. Okay, so what's the difference between a serial killer and a mass murderer? Is a mass murderer kills everybody in one event at one time. Okay. A lot of times they end up dead in the process. Most mass murderers are looking to commit suicide, but they don't want to go alone. They don't want to go by themselves. So they go and they kill a lot of people before they kill themselves. And if they don't kill themselves, they get killed by the police. Loeffner and Holmes ended up going to court. Adam Lanza died, but Loeffner and Holmes have gone to trial, and they're facing criminal punishment. Loeffner was found stable enough to be tried. Okay, but anyway, your spree killers is your third type of mass murderer. Your spree killer will go on a killing spree. If you've ever seen the movie The Badlands, starring Charlie Sheen, it's about Starkweather. And Starkweather and his girlfriend started by killing her parents, and then they drove through the Badlands and they killed people over a 2-week period of time. Okay, but it was all part of the same crime spree. Okay, the next crime that we fear is rape. And rape has been in the news a lot lately, and there's different kinds of rape. There's forcible rape, which is the carnal knowledge of a person forcibly and against their will. And the common law definition of rape is the carnal knowledge of a woman against her will. Common law states that a man can't get raped, and that's a myth, that's a fallacy. There was a lot of talk about the Stanford polo player who sexually assaulted an unconscious woman. That's still rape. She's unconscious, she cannot give consent. There's date rape, is when you get a person under the influence, you make them unconscious. You know your offender. You know the person that's raping you, and they rape you because you are somehow incapable of giving consent, and you are unable to say no or fight back. Rape shield laws have been put into effect as a way to protect the rape victims. Rape has become, or is, the second greatest fear after murder, is being raped, because there's a lot of myths about rape, there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of issues with rape. Like I said, date rape is characterized by prior social relationships, and then you end up having sexual relationships. Spousal rape, just because you're married doesn't mean that they want to have sex. If they say no, that means no. Along with the rape, we have our pedophiles. We have those people who commit crimes and child abuse, both sexual and physical, and mental abuse of children. It varies in terms of the age and genders of the children. It's accompanied by verbal abuse and other forms of abuse and threats. You can't tell anybody this is going on, or else I'm going to kill your mommy, or I'm going to kill your daddy, or I'm going to, you're going to get in a lot of trouble and nobody's going to believe you. And child abuse, sexual abuse, pedophilia is a horrible, evil thought. Child pornography also goes along those lines, which is a visual representation of sex with kids. Robbery is the taking or attempting to take anything of value under the confrontational circumstances and the form control of somebody else. I put a gun in your face. I say, give me your money. If you don't give me your money, I'm going to kill you. Now we've got robbery and murder. Highway robberies, home invasion robberies. You're sitting there, you're watching your favorite TV show on Netflix. Somebody kicks in your front door, takes all of your money and jewels, and holds you hostage. Okay. Assault. There are different types of assault. The first is aggravated assault, and this is the unlawful attack by one person upon another, wherein the offender uses a weapon. Intimate partner violence or domestic violence. This is a very special area of criminology, which includes sexual violence within the family household and domestic violence. Assault against kids. There's workplace violence and hate crimes. Stalking is considered a form of violence where you follow people around. And that's moved into the internet as well. I have several PowerPoint demonstrations of very PowerPoint lectures that I've also put together, going into a greater amount of detail of the crimes against persons and those things that we fear. We fear criminal activity. We fear crimes against persons because it's personal. We sit there and we find, nobody wants to become a victim of a murder. And I was talking to a lady on Facebook the other day. She said that her homosexual brother has been having nightmares because he's afraid somebody's going to come and try and kill him because he's gay. It causes a lot of fear. It causes a lot of animosity. It causes a lot of anxiousness. When you become a victim of a person crime, it just gets worse because you always and you constantly think that you're going to be victimized again. You lose trust in people. You lose trust in those people that you deal with and those people that are around you. Person crimes, homicide, rape, assault, and robbery are the four crimes that scare us the most because that can happen to us. Wherever we're going, when we're walking around, we're we're talking to others, we could be killed. And now in this world of terrorism and this world of hate crimes and the world of hate, we find that it gets scary to go to big events because you don't know who's going to respond. You don't know who's going to react in any particular special way. Okay. This has been Criminal Justice in a Nutshell. Person crimes, what we fear. Hope you have a very good day, and I will see you on our next episode.